Hi, my name is Jesse. I have ADHD, and motivation can be really hard for me. I'm also a therapist who supports folks who have ADHD, and motivation comes up a lot as something that we're working on. So I have personal experience and also experience helping others with this. Motivation is a really tough thing for everybody. For ADHD, it can be even more of a challenge, and that's because of executive functioning challenges that we have with ADHD. People with ADHD tend to have difficulties with different aspects of executive functioning, such as time management, our sense of time in general, but especially thinking about the future can be harder with folks who have ADHD. We have a preference for the here and now. Our time horizon is a lot smaller than maybe a neurotypical person's time horizon would be. It makes it harder to think about long term goals or months in the future. We tend to live more in the here and now, and planning for something in the future can seem somewhat impossible. Working memory and attention is also a big part of ADHD. I mean, that's part of the definition of ADHD is attention deficit. So, yeah, attention can be hard. And maintaining that attention for a sustained period can be challenging. This is especially true when something maybe is like a menial task or boring. For something that's interesting, we might not have a problem being focused on it, but that focus is hard to sustain on something that doesn't grab our interest. Also, emotional regulation is another function that with ADHD that can be a little challenging as well. Oftentimes, it means that our emotions can be much stronger, much harder to control, according to research, and according to my experience and the people I've worked with. And that can be a big barrier in motivation as well, because really, when it comes down to it, motivation frequently is caused by emotional stuff. Like, I want something because it's the emotional benefit in the future, and so that's going to propel me to be motivated for something. So ADHD brains can do executive functioning. Obviously, we do. It's just a lot harder, and a lot of us get through it. We push extra hard, we accomplish the same thing. It takes a lot more gas to do. It takes a lot more effort. A lot of times we're white knuckling it. Sometimes it requires us putting on kind of an emotional mask because of the emotional distress it causes to try to do all of this stuff. That's so frustrating because it's so hard to do. And so we have to mask on top of, getting overwhelmed with all of the task management, prioritizing, organizing, and all of that stuff. And then a third thing that's kind of a barrier here too is sometimes because of internalized ableism or because of our histories, you know, um, with ADHD, we've had past failures. And we might have some shame that comes up, some guilt or some fear that comes up as a barrier also that prevents us from feeling that we even can accomplish it, even if we want to. Well, because of all of these problems, the literature has identified that ADHD brains have four unique ways that we're motivated. And the first one they identified is interest. So it's like something that we're really interested in, like our special interest or something that like really builds us up. It grabs our attention and we're able to lock in. And sometimes it can be kind of a superpower. We like hyper focus on that thing and we can do a really good job of it. And it can make us feel really good. The problem is we don't always get to choose what it is we're interested in, right? But interest is a big motivator for ADHD. The second big motivator is competition, or I like to think of it as connection with others. So when we're in competition mode with a friend or family or someone else, we have someone there holding us accountable in a way. Maybe there's kind of an emotional piece to it as well, where we're kind of feeling adrenaline or excitement, and our attention is naturally drawn to that, and we're able to keep motivated with that in place. If there's a lot of pressure, that can be a big motivator for ADHD as well. And that's where, procrastination comes into play. And this makes sense because when we're up to the deadline, we have to get this thing in for work or for school or for whatever it is. And we know if we don't do it, we don't pay the bill by the end of the month, we will lose our housing. Then we're motivated all of a sudden. And that can be pressure or procrastination. The reason that works is because the time horizon is so short, it's in the here and now. So of course we can address it. So sometimes it works well. A lot of times though, it kind of like we'll get it done, but we might not sleep the night before, or we might not do it as well as we could have otherwise. So it would have been better to start earlier. So our motivation, it can work, but at the same time, sometimes it's helpful to have a longer time horizon. And then the fourth motivational factor in the literature is called novelty, like something new. Kind of like interest is like, whoa, that's really cool. That's really new. And it kind of grabs my attention, for all of us. But with ADHD, it works really well. We're like, oh, cool. Tell me about that. I really want to learn more and stuff. The problem with novelty is that it kind of wears off. I mean, right? Because like nothing can be new forever. It's not new for very long. So, but that is the fourth motivational factor in the literature. So with all that being said, there's a lot of barriers. There's a lot of problems with trying to stay motivated with ADHD. It's harder to do. A lot of that is because of our executive functioning challenges that are really just part of our brain, part of the way that we're developed. So we have to accept that. At the same time, we can work with it, and we have to work with it because we have to live our lives. And we want to build lives that are meaningful and that we're living in our values. And we want to be motivated for things that we really want in the future. We don't always just want to be eating donuts all day. We want to accomplish things. So we have to find ways in order to manage this. I've come up with 7 strategies I thought were pretty helpful for me and the folks that I've worked with. And there's a lot of other strategies out there too. The first one that I thought of was picking the right goals. So for me, sometimes I feel overwhelmed with so many goals that I could work on and so many ways I could work on each goal and so many steps that are on all the goals. And you kind of see where I'm going. There's so many things I can do all at the same time. And pretty soon I just get overwhelmed and then I just flop down and lay on the bed because I don't know what to do, right? So it's important that we find a way to externalize all those thoughts, whether that's writing them down in a list, typing them up in some kind of computer program you have, talking with a trusted friend or family member, whatever it is, getting those out to kind of look at them and then try to prioritize them. If we need support prioritizing, we can request that, or we can use some type of tool to help us with that. But that would be my first tip for myself and for everyone else. The second one that I thought of was something that Ari Tuckman, who's an author in ADHD books, and he does a lot of great trainings. He always says, remember the past and feel the future. That is a skill that we need to work on with ADHD. And what that means is, since we're always living in the now with ADHD, how can we find ways to kind of remember what happened in the past and learn about, stuff in the past and learn about what we did well or what we didn't do well, keeping that memory there. And then in the future, like thinking ahead and thinking more than just, a few hours ahead or a day or two ahead. Think about maybe in a few months ahead. What are some ways we can do that? So we can do things like being really grateful for our past selves for doing something that helped our current self. And then we can connect to our future self by saying, hey, I really want to be generous to the future self. What can I do to give them a present in a way? So maybe I'll do the chores now. So later on, my future self won't have to do them. And he'll be very happy about that. He can do something fun. That's one way. Another way is to bring the future closer. So breaking things down into small steps and maybe even offering small rewards along the way. Not waiting for the big payoff to get the award, but trying to get kind of an award or a reward along the way to keep us motivated in those small goals. And a third idea that I had was mindfulness or something in that kind of genre of things, which could include something like just pausing for a break, sitting down or meditating or just kind of resting. You can check in with your body. What does your body need? Maybe you have to go to the bathroom. Maybe you need some water. Checking in like that, or just taking a few breaths, and grounding yourself. Another idea I had, which I think is the fourth, is filling the tank. So filling the tank is knowing that it's extra hard to keep motivation going with ADHD. What can we do to get us some more energy? And that might be like grabbing a cup of coffee. It could just be exercise is a really big one. If we have regular exercise routines, sometimes that helps us keep our energy and motivation up. Taking a break, doing something you enjoy for a second and then coming back to the task, or adding something you enjoy to what you're already doing. So for me, sometimes that's a podcast or music while I'm doing a chore. Kind of helps me keep motivated and kind of put some fuel in the tank while I'm doing it. Another idea I had was the environment. I think it's really important that we think about our environments. We want to make it easy to do the right thing. So, we don't want to have like candy bowls sitting all out if we're trying to avoid sugar, obviously. And we apply that idea to everything. So if there's distracting things like our phone or like whatever it is that tends to distract us, we try to keep those harder to get to. And then the things that we really want to do, easier to get to. And that might require organizing the space a little bit, which can be a challenge too. But if the space is organized well, it can be easy to grab a piece of paper and write something down, or it can be easy to, if you're going to clean the bathroom, it's putting the stuff by the bathroom so that when you do clean it, it's all there and ready and easy to knock it out. So, kind of set up in the environment that really helps with momentum, whatever that means for you. The last idea I had was getting accountability of some sort. It could be accountability or support from someone else. That could be like a formal support, like a coach or a therapist or something like that. It could be a family member or a friend. It could even just be putting it in your calendar so that you're kind of supporting yourself to remind yourself, setting reminders in some way. Whatever it is, kind of getting it out there so that you have that reminder, that accountability, that later on you can follow up and say, okay, I did make some progress on this goal, or maybe not as much as I wanted, or maybe I accomplished it. And you'll be able to assess, how you did. And you can do is take that information and use it as data, and next time reevaluate and try something else until you find something that works.